about Jesus? Just go ahead and tell me.
Wait a minute, I ain't fine. Because I don't know exactly what you said.
When did you first accept Jesus?
Oh, when I was 8 years old at First Baptist Church, Honey Pass, South Carolina.
Okay. How old were you when your mom passed?
5 years old.
Okay. How old was your mom when she passed, and what was the reason for her death?
She was 33, and she died in 1933. And the reason for her death was double pneumonia.
Okay. When did your dad pass, and what caused his death?
5 years after Mama died, and he had a stomach disorder.
Okay. So after that, where did you and your sister and brother go to live after the death of both of your parents?
Actually, I lived with Daddy and my sister and brother right at the home place for about 6 years. And then, when Daddy died, I went to live with Granny.
But your dad had some help that came in and helped take care of y'all.
Yeah, he did. When Daddy kept us at home as long as he could, but he had built-in live-in housekeepers that stayed day and night to keep us until his death, and then I went to Granny's.
Okay. Who lived in the household with you with your granny?
My mama's mama, which was Granny. Now everybody can see her. My mama's brother and my mama's sister. They had never been married, and they all shared a home together. And then they took me and my sister in, and we all lived together.
When did you accept Christ as your personal Lord and Savior?
When I was 8 years old.
Okay. Where were you baptized?
Honey Pass First Baptist Church.
Your granny was very active in the church. So how did she influence your life? Tell me some things that she was involved in.
She influenced my life by the way she lived every day was a living example of a good woman, and it just influenced me all my life. The way she lived her life each day and handled each problem each day. And another way is she went to church every Sunday that she was able, and we all got up and she fixed a big breakfast, and we went to church 7 miles away. And we went to Sunday school and preaching, and then some of the Sundays, I think it's every other Sunday, she was involved in WMU until they would have a meeting at the church after the service.
Okay, when I talked with you, you were telling me what a great influence that your granny had on you, and you brought up the fruit of the Spirit. Most people can see what the fruit of the Spirit is on the wall over there, but let's read them together. But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. That's what Miss Jean told me that her granny was like.
She made 100 on each one.
I don't know how many of y'all been around Miss Jean a lot, but she's always talking about her granny. Mm-hmm. You know, what an influence she had on her in the life that she lived. And her granny was what age when you went to live with them? Do you remember?
She was 70.
Okay. Yeah. So, okay. Tell us about your ministry in the church.
Well, I would go to Sunday school and preaching when Granny and the rest of my family members went. Then certain Sundays of the month, we had GAs after church. So I went to GAs. And Granny would always want me in the summer months. We didn't have vacation Bible school at the church that I went to with Granny. I didn't go to First Baptist Church with Granny. That was where my parents went. I went to Barker's Creek Baptist Church. You can see it on the wall. That was Granny's church. So they didn't have Bible school there. So I went to Greenville for 2 weeks every Sunday, every summer for Bible school. She saw that I had as much training as I could get. And also I forgot about BYPU on Sunday night. That was Baptist Young People's Training Union, which is church training now. I would go then. I guess I was looking for a ride then. Whenever I could get a ride, I would go there. So that's my affiliation with that.
Okay. What was living in the household with your granny and like? What did it mean to you?
You mean?
Yeah, the influence she had on you.
Oh, well, the influence she had on me, and I'm repeating, was the way she lived every day. Just saw that we all, me and my sister, had what we needed, and she was so open to the family members by her being the mother and the grandmother of all, my mama's mother. Her house was Grand Central Station, so she reached out so much to her family people, to her family members. She loved people, and she believed in helping your family or anybody. She took care of her daddy for 12 years when he was blind, so that made me know, when she used to tell me about that, the love she had for her fellow man, especially her daddy. And she just, I don't know, she taught us to, always help our family if they were in need, and we did. And that just influenced me in every way, to always be helpful to people.
And you told me too that she was very loyal.
Oh, yeah.
And tell me about some stories about how she felt about her preachers, and maybe something that happened at your church when you were growing up, and how your granny taught you to handle it.
Yes, she was very loyal to her church. She loved, I can truthfully say I never heard her say a harm word about a preacher that we had. If she thought it, she didn't say it in front of us. But she didn't like discord in the church at all. And one time, I remember, it was said that a preacher picked up a deacon's wife on the way. She was going to her house, and he picked her up to give her a ride. She was walking down the road. That's all it took. It got out that the preacher and Helen Robinson was having an affair. And the church just about went, It upset Granny because she loved her church. But she told us, we are not going to discuss this. I don't want to hear a word that any of my family has to say about it outside of this room. It is not to be discussed, because the more you talk about things, the worse it gets. Mm-hmm. That's right. And that's the way she didn't want us to talk about it. And back to her loyalty, and I know y'all are all probably too young to know this. When we had revival services, it was morning and night. And we went. But Granny would always have the visiting preacher and his wife or family, and our present pastor. and she would have the best food, and just, she was just A1 in every way in my book.
And that's the way you are in mine.
Well, I'm gonna tell a little secret on Miss Angel. She slept with her granny till she was 17 years old. Wasn't it right?
Yeah,
She went off to Western Union School. But anyway, tell them where you and your sister Dot, you told me you went to live with your granny. Where did your brother go, and how often did you get to see him?
my brother had to go to my mother's other sister and live. See, when Mama died, my brother was 9 years old, I was 5, and my sister was 17 months. So my brother went to live with Mother's sister, Aunt Mary. She kept him till he could get out of high school.
But you saw him at church every Sunday, right?
Oh, I saw him at church, and Granny would let him come for 2 weeks or more every summer, so the 3 of us children could be together one more time.
What were some things that y'all did as a family for fun?
Well, Granny, she wasn't like an average old person, I guess like me. She liked to just entertain us as well as take care of us. So we would play lotto at night, bingo, Chinese checkers, and then a lot of nights we would, Granny had a stack of hymn books. We would pass the hymn books around and we would sing. We would just, each person could pick out what they wanted to sing, and we just had the best time doing that. And then after that, in the winter months, Granny kept a box of apples and a box of oranges like that in a cold room in the house. And we could have a piece of fruit before we went to bed and a stick of candy. The candy was lemon, peppermint, and sassafras. And I don't know, she'd tell us different stories of her childhood and all. It was just an enjoyable place, and I was so thankful for it.
That just goes to show what kind of influence you can have in your home by living a Christian life and being an example for others. Tell me, what was your granny's favorite song?
Must Jesus bear the cross alone?
One minute. Must Jesus bear the cross alone, and all the world go free? No, there's a cross for everyone, and there's a cross for me. How happy are the saints above, who once went sorrowing here, but now they taste unmingled love and joy without a tear. The consecrated cross I'll bear, till death shall set me free, and then go home my crown to wear, for there's a crown for me. Upon the crystal pavement down at Jesus' pierced feet, joyful I'll cast my golden crown, and here's your name repeat. O precious cross, O glorious crown, O resurrection day, when Christ the Lord from heaven comes down and bears my soul away.
Amen.
You can cut it now, Mom. One other thing, y'all. I got here and there and yonder, so you just have to bear with me.